It's the Amanda Seales Show. I have not seen Supreme and TJ since they watched the Club Shay interview. We chatted about it on Friday, but they have
Mm-hmm.
now viewed it. So this is the last time I'm going to talk about it because, by the way, like literally 2 days later, people are like, "Dang, you dragging it, you dragging it." I'm like, it's been 48 hours. Like, oy. So, and everywhere I went this weekend, everywhere I went, they'd say, "I saw the interview. I
Oh,
saw the interview."
word?
Everywhere I
Everywhere.
went.
Yeah, you couldn't go online.
TSA,
What?
TSA, checking into the hotel, the people at the comedy club, every single person. The driver, seen the interview. Got it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
So fire
thank you for shouting
away.
me out in there. You know, a couple people was like,
Twice.
yeah, people was like, yeah, Supreme, I didn't know you was out here giving good advice like that. I'm like, well, I do a little
Oh
something,
Lord.
you know.
That's why he wearing the blazer today.
That's it. That is
Profile
it.
elevation.
Well, Amanda, let's just jump right in. Because I would assume that at the initial invitation to come on Club Shay Shay, there may have been or there was some excitement. So from the initial invite till the interview to all the blogs, and you couldn't go on social media without seeing Amanda Seals. And there was a lot of positive, there was a lot of negative. But how do you feel now? Are you happy that you did the interview, or do you wish you wouldn't have never done it?
I mean, I'm just not a regretful kind of person like that. So I just don't have that type of mindset about things. The interview came to me and it came in a very easy fashion. And I usually feel like when things come to me that way, it's a sign.
Hmm.
So I just took it as that. And I did my best. My regrets are not my own regrets. I wish that they had just kept honest to keeping it a safe space, and it was clear by anyone who's watching it with an unbiased eye that the interviewer was not coming into it with a safe space in mind.
Hmm. Well, I when I was watching, I had talked to you like right after it happened. But first of all, I want to say shout out to you because I think you brought up a very good thing with people telling the stories of when they first experienced racism as a child. Because I think everybody might have a story like that, but they don't really get heard. And I think it kind of formats how you see race and race relations through life when you deal with racism as a child. But the question I really wanted to ask you was about the energy. Like you said, the energy was one way when you came there, and then it kind of shifted. Did you feel those shifts happening as they were happening, or are
You
you
mean during
looking
the
at it?
interview?
Yes, during the interview, like
Well,
it was
yeah,
like
because I mean,
it
think
was a
about it.
roller
Like the
coaster.
intro starts,
Uh
the
huh.
intro was like this glowing intro. And I was like, oh, wow, like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling seen,
Yeah.
And so then I started to open up, but he got me.
Hmm.
He got me because I started to open up thinking that this person was being receptive to me. And then I realized shortly thereafter that they're really not trying to hear me. They're trying to interrogate me. And some people feel like, well, that's what you do with an interview. You interrogate. And that's really actually not true. It depends. I mean, if you that lady in Memphis on First 48, then yes, you are interrogating.
Yeah.
But when you are, for instance, us here at the Amanda Seales Show, like we don't bring guests on here to interrogate them.
At
Like
all.
the idea is that it's a fun, safe space where people
Mm-hmm.
are sharing their stories, and you may ask questions to just get more of the story, but
Yeah.
you don't ask questions to challenge their experience of the story,
Right.
because that makes them feel like they are not in a safe space. Now you put people on guard, people get
Hmm.
defensive. It makes you feel like they're not trusted.
Mm.
And so over the course of the interview, I realized that that was happening just over and over and over and over again in the interview. And I was just, keeping my cool, but I didn't feel like it was a place that I wanted to be at. And I had to stop myself from leaving because I did feel like this was not really a safe space anymore. But then I said, no, Amanda, you got really like important ideas here that you want to share with folks.
Yeah.
And they asked you to come here. You know, it's a big platform. And even if people are going to hate on you, they're still going to get the ideas that may blossom later. So, you just kind of got to do that.
And one of the things that I kept seeing blogs and people were even texting me, they probably were texting you too, Supreme, all over the weekend. And you've already talked about, you've already responded, I should say, about the discovery of your autism. But what do you want people to either know about autism or the fact that you recently discovered that you have autism? There's a lot of talk about whether or not the diagnosis was clinical, or what would you
I
like
want
to
to
say
say
about
this.
that?
First, I want to say it is so wild to see people pick and choose when they want to believe doctors and when they don't. Like, I just think that that's one thing that's
Hmm.
wild. Uh, Two, I think that it's a lot of people that do not know anything about autism. I've seen people say things like, "Well, I can't say that I got diagnosed with cancer if a doctor didn't diagnose me for cancer." And it's like, "Well, ma'am, cancer is something that you test for with blood and with actual biological things. Autism is a neurological disorder. It is a different set of testing. And the testing that is done is incredibly expensive and often is not even able to be had by adults. The waiting lists are often for years. And especially for Black women, the only studies for autism to at length have really been for young white boys.
Oh wow.
I talked about this in the interview and they cut it out of the interview. So the
Oh,
autism, yeah, so the majority of pathology around autism is done on young white boys, and so even girl children don't get properly diagnosed. And many parents have come in my DM saying, "Thank you so much for talking about this because we have gone through so much struggles to get a diagnosis." And for the most part, the clinical diagnosis is a wide ranging meaning. So clinical doesn't have to simply mean by a physician, it can mean by a psychologist, it can mean by a psychiatrist, it can mean by someone who is an autism expert that has a master's degree, and it results in them observing you and you filling out bubble tests. Those same bubble tests are available online because of all of the disparities that are
Oh
faced
wow.
in the medical field for people to get tested. And as an adult, when you realize that you fall on the spectrum, you are now responsible for how you are going to care for yourself. Now, in some cases, if you are high functioning, you may not need the resources that a diagnosis from a medical practitioner that is able to get insurance will get. But if you are high functioning, this can change the way that you understand your life, the way you understand your brain, the way you understand how you interact with the world in such incredible, magnanimous ways. It is such a revelation. And that is what led me to this. So many Black women saw what was happening to me with Essence, et cetera, and said to me, I feel like you might be on the spectrum because these are all of the complaints that I've been getting all my life.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, I've been getting them too. But that's, as we have seen the language around this change over the years, we really have to look at it as enlightenment. And when I see people say things like, "Oh, you're just saying you're autistic because da 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 da," that is a reflection of them. I mean,
Okay.
that is such a nonsensical way of existing that I can't
mhm.
even fathom that. So that is something that maybe you would do. And so you think I would do it, but that is just not how I live my life. Furthermore, autism is not something that people are like running around, throwing around for clout. Like I've never,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's
like
wild.
I've never heard of that. Uh, but for me, as somebody who has been just who has always just felt alienated my whole life and always felt like there were things about me that I could not understand. I found a community of people who do understand. And so, for anyone who has something to say, that you can do what you want to do with your time on this precious earth. But what I'm going to do with my time is really connect with that community in a way that I'm only now able to do because I did the due diligence of self-diagnosis over the course of months and the support of my mother, the support of my psychiatrist, and the support of the autism community.
All right. All right.
But let me
Final.
just say this. But let me just say this. So
Okay,
then
my
people are
bad.
like, yeah, but you lied about it on the show. And I didn't lie about it on the show. What happened was that he was pushing me in a corner that he never should have been pushing me in the first place. So let's start with that. It is
Okay.
so wildly, wildly inappropriate to demand that you prove to somebody about a diagnosis of a medical issue. It is unbelievably irresponsible for an interviewer to do that. I would never have somebody on this show say that they are artistic or that they have cancer or that they have ADHD or that they, I don't know, have endometriosis and then ask them, are you sure? I mean, just because you have cramps don't mean you got endometriosis. Like that's just so it really is very insensitive. But I would also say that a lot of times when you're in these interviews, it's just so intense.
Mhm.
And I felt I felt like my back was against the wall, and I felt like this man was pushing me for information, not for the sake of understanding, but for the sake of gotcha. That's what it felt like because he had already set that up. And so I tried to evade the question. I'm not good at evading. We all see
Yeah.
that. I'm a direct gal.
Do
And so
you
when
think
I said, what?
do you think that the gotcha that he goes for, it seems as if, because his show, I think, has been out for a while, and Cat Williams went on there and blasted out everybody that he blasted out, so now it's a place of drama. Do you think his
Mhm.
gotcha do you think that that's what he was trying to get from you?
Do I think? What do you think?
Well, no, I think so, but I'm trying to make sense of I'm trying it doesn't make sense to me, and why would he even care to even press you about a
But you just
diagnosis?
made it make sense, babe.
Shannon's a big dude. I'd have told him what he wanted to hear too. Like, "Hey, you got it, big fella. You got it. Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever you say, homie." My last question is like, I peeped what you said when we were talking about the slider. A lot of editing was going on with that slider. What do you feel was messed out, left out? Because every time I would see the slider, I'm like, oh, there they go. Oh, there's another
So
one.
they left out when Shannon said to me, it seems like when people don't just they left out when Shannon said to me, it seems like when stuff don't agree with you that you just call it racist. And
Oh.
I said to him, well, I don't know where you can infer that at this juncture in this interview. And he said, well, you said that autism is racist and you said that your teacher is racist. So it sounds like you just call everything racist if it's not what you want.
Mm.
Uh, and that got cut out. And then I had said to him, well, didn't you leave your show because of racism? They cut that out.
Okay.
Uh, they also cut out when I was explaining, like I said earlier, when I was explaining about the specifics around the racism in the medical field as it relates to autism. They
Mhm.
cut that out.
Okay.
They cut out information that I said about Palestine. They cut that out. So I think that's a hefty amount of stuff that they removed that I think would have added a bit more context to
Mhm.
just my interview and also
Evidently.
to understanding why I was so taken aback. I mean, people already felt that way without those stuffs.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But that's the risk you take when you come on a show, and it's unfortunate
Yeah.
because it just you hope that they're going to edit ethically. And even with the promos, I mean, like I said that Kevin Hart helped me settle a situation at Live Nation so that I could finish my tour, and they promoted it by saying Amanda Seales said Kevin Hart saved her when her and her ex-boyfriend weren't making
Yeah.
money.
I didn't get
Yeah.
that from that clip. I
Yeah.
was like, this clip's
Those
not even
promos
about
was
that.
something else. Yeah, and they
And
was
I,
rolling them
and
out.
I screenshotted that and I sent that to the producer and I said, y'all are really shameless. It's really unfortunate how shameless y'all are. Cause I never thought of this space as that place. And it just seems like that's what they've decided to become overnight. I never considered this to be this kind of content. So, but it really let me know that I have a cavalcade of folks that understand me, and a lot of it's been really beautiful to just see how many people have said like I see, like, thank you for seeing me, and thank you for making me feel seen, and thank you for speaking out about autism, and thank you for not letting him pressure you about having kids, because he was pressuring me. That was another situation later in the show medically.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Why are you pressing me about my eggs? If I say I don't want to have kids, then
That's it.
ask me, well, what do you want to do?
Mhm.
What do you want? Like, but that's what happens when you ask questions from curiosity of love. That's the difference. And he wasn't doing that.
Okay.
And now it's become, oh, well, you're turncoating on Shannon. You hugged him because I was in a scenario that I had to make the best of. And I am such a positive person that I really was like, all right, we got through. But when I slept on and I woke up the next morning, I really didn't feel good. And I felt like I had been really disrespected. And I feel very affirmed in so many people feeling the same way.
Well, you sounded very intelligent. I like the fact when you even try to no, not try to, you explain to him very well on how you are a scholar in history, and because
Girl.
and it was well said. And because I did see a lot of people saying he's not smart enough to talk to Amanda Seals. You did not sound like you were trying to purposely talk over him, but a lot of people took it that way. But if people don't know you, you smart for real. So I just thought,
But people, but I mean, those are people that they have their own insecurities, they have their own inferiority complex that ain't got nothing to do with me. Those are the
yeah,
same people that were bullying me that I was talking about, who used to say shit to me like, oh, you think you know everything. You're just a know-it-all. You're just a show off. It's the same bullies. They just grow up and be the same people.
Yeah.
Like, instead of, if you feel like these people know more than you, hit the books, boo.
Hmm.
Hit the books. I mean, one of the most disheartening things was how many women have just made it their business to attack me. How many messages I've gotten. I've gotten death threats off of this interview. I've gotten
wow,
like really highly racist messages
That's
that people are
terrible.
emailing me. um I've just had so many men specifically who have also just come at me very aggressively about my personality, saying things to me like, why won't you just STFU? You need to off yourself, that nobody wants a
Not
woman like
that.
you.
What?
really,
Yeah, like these are the types of messages I'm getting. I'm getting that from women. Women are like, that's why you don't got no friends, don't nobody like you. It's just a really odd thing to see people take time out of their day to say these types of things to somebody else. It really scares me how much we are resembling Zionist culture when we act like this, because it's a psychological thing that says it is okay for me to come and just be so nasty to someone that I've never met, that has no bearing on my life and
Right.
whatsoever.
Right.
Like, this person is not doing anything that's going to disrupt my existence. They're not even from where I'm from. But I
right.
feel
Yeah.
so I feel so disturbed by their
That's
existence that I need to go
nuts.
and tell them that they gotta, yeah, I just gotta go and tell them. I gotta go and be mean to them. I mean, I just can't, I mean, I just can't understand that.
Damn. Yeah.
I can't understand that because I'm not espousing anything controversial in my interview. Do you know
Yeah,
what I'm
you gotta
saying?
be
Like, it's
Yeah,
down bad to get that
like,
riled up about something like what? Like that's
so,
unbelievable. Yeah.
horrible, horrible.
but that's the thing. And it's like a lot of people don't understand that part of the experience. They just see an interview and just think that that's all there is.
Yep.
But I'm somebody who can tell. I will tell you, and that is why they don't like me, because I will tell you, cut things out of the interview. I will tell you that I sent them a list of the things I wanted to discuss, and I had a conversation with them specifically saying, I want to make sure that it's clear that both of my parents are Black. Here is a picture of my parents.
Oh, you
I
got that
sent
all
them a
wrong.
picture of my parents.
Um, I think that he just was reading whatever was on the sheet. So I don't know how he got it. Why he kept on saying that. Like he kept on going
Well, I
back to
think
that
that
too.
ultimately, though, it doesn't matter. It's your show.
Yeah,
It's not
it's your
club producer.
responsibility. Yes,
It's
yes,
Club Shay.
yes.
And, people are telling me, well, he's speaking positive about her, so he's taking the high road. What, what, again, I'm put in a position where I'm the one who's mistreated. And then because I speak on it, I'm the problem. I'm literally being gaslit about being gaslit about being gaslit. It's the most meta experience I've ever had as a public figure. But it's really made me say, you know, it's time to change my relationship with the public.
Mm,
Ba-dum-bum. So there you
man,
have it. And for everyone who said, I know you may not need this, but I'm just going to pour into you, I did need it. I need
that's
it.
what's
I
up.
love it.
Yes.
And I appreciate you. And I thank you so much for doing the exact opposite of those other people and taking time out of your day to bring some positivity and some light and sending it my way. Because that really has lifted me and kept me from allowing the shadows to speak to me. So thank you. We are